Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Look, today we're dealing with the case that took place in February of 1999, right? And this was Amadou Diallo. But before we get into it, I gotta explain to you all something about numerology, or I want to get into a little numerology dealing with this case, right? Now, the number 5, they consider the angel number 5, and this is coming from the angel numbers and meaning. The angel number 5 relates to freedom and independence, right? Adventure and curiosity, right? That's all Amadou Diallo, it represents him. Born in Guinea, comes to America. He wanted to become a computer engineer. He wanted to better his life so he can better his family's life. And he entered in America at the age of 19, right? He's seeking that American dream, which was being portrayed all over the world, that if you come to the United States, you can make you some money, you can be somebody more than what you could be in your own country. So he traveled to the Americas. And he was murdered here by 4 cops, right? Now, I want to get into first, why do I represent the number 5 relating to Amadou Diallo? And first, the reason why I'm on Amadou Diallo is simply because in my documentary, Everyday People, the movie, which you can go to YouTube right now and watch it, Everyday People, the movie, THE, the movie, you have to put all that in, I'm looking at February 4th, 1999. I took the 4 in the 1999, right, which added up to 32. And then the 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's 15. He was 23 years old when he was shot, right, and murdered by 4 New York City police officers, right? So that 2 and 3 is 5. That's another 5, right? The officers fired a combined total of 41 shots, right? 4 plus 1 is 5. This is the month of May, 5th month of the year. It's another 5. And the number 5 is related to freedom and independence. And that's what we want from the colonizers. So the death of Amadou Diallo first allows us to get into black fear and white fear. Now, the officers claimed that they were afraid for their lives because he reached in his pocket for his wallet. They shot him 41 times. Right. But that's white fear. Black fear is when you watch any of these television shows or you look into any of the media as far as movies or whatnot, when the police officer pulls you over, first thing he wants is your driver's license and registration. And if you're not driving, the first thing they say is some form of identification. So you got to realize that over in certain countries, the only information or the only knowledge that they have of America is what they see on television. And from that, then they depict the image in their head that this must be what America is like. So when 4 officers rolled up on him, his natural instinct was out of fear, because when you're afraid, your reactions are different. Going to prove that who he is, because apparently in his mind, they can't be looking for me because I don't have any drugs on me. I don't do anything. So here's my wallet. They lit him up, saying that they were afraid, even though he was unarmed, right? Because now it's saying that we need black psychologists to go on record and show the reactions of black people when they're afraid of the police, because there is a pattern, and you have to establish the pattern. And once you establish the pattern, then you can document that, and now we can look at this as a case study. Because it's always used that they saw a shiny object, and I mean that's been going on for so long. But the police use that to justify the shooting, because once you're dead, you can't tell your side of the story, and no one knows what your inner thoughts was at that time, so you can't defend yourself. So the colonizer, the racist, the white supremacist knows that if you ever get into it with a black male or a black female, kill them. That way there's no way that they can give their side of the story. They only have one side to go from, and that's the side of the killer. And with a majority white jury, they know they're going home. That's the America that Amadou Diallo found when he came here. He found that harsh reality, much different from what's on the television screen. Much different. Now, here's a person, and y'all keep in mind now his number is 5. Here's a person who came here seeking a better life and was deprived of that. He was also deprived of justice. So Amadou Diallo never received what his heart wanted from coming to the America. Right. So that means that his soul couldn't rest and is not at rest until he receives justice. You got to remember, he took a journey to America. He wasn't born in America. His mother, on that interview with on Netflix, what it's called, Trial by Media, said that when he came to America, he left behind his family. He left behind his culture, meaning his faith carried him around the world to the Americas, seeking something that the universe promised him. But racists came in and intervened with that and made the universe not a liar, but it didn't deliver for Amadou Diallo. So the universe has to bring justice, since he's not here to bring it for himself. It's been 20 years since the case. When the case was in 2000. It's been 20 years since that case where they let these 4 officers go from shooting a man 41 times in a little hallway with his door closed. He couldn't run. He couldn't escape. All because they thought he was reaching for a gun, but he actually was reaching for his wallet. What's the significance in that? It goes to show you that in the colonizer's mind, or in the racist cop's mind, He can't tell whether you're a Moor, a Christian, a Muslim, whether you're from New York, whether you're from Houston, whether you're from Detroit, whether you're from Africa, whether you're from Mexico, whether you're from Dominican, whether you're from Panama, whether you're from Jamaica, whether you're from St. Kitts, whether you black from the UK. All he sees is melanated skin, and don't matter the shade. And that racists will open fire and shoot. We see it all the time. So one, there's a unifying factor for black people around the globe, or specifically in the Americas. There's a cry for unity because how many times that the same scenario has been played out since the actual shooting in 1999. It hasn't stopped yet. Same players involved. You still gonna have Al Sharpton, right? Which I'm not knocking Al Sharpton because you have to do something. You get out there, you protest, you get the media involved. You hoping that since all eyes are on this justice system, at the end of the day, it will put pressure to do the right thing. But once again, how many killers, cops that killed unarmed black men got off since the actual shooting in 1999? Here we are, 2020, and still we just had Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor just recently. Cops roll up in Breonna Taylor's apartment and was in the wrong apartment and killed her. And what they say, well, we mistakenly went into the wrong apartment. We gave her the command to be still. She moved. We were afraid for our lives, so we had to kill her. Now, here go people with guns, tasers, and they're afraid of an unarmed black man. And why is that? Hollywood, the stigmatization of a big black man with a wild look in his eye. I was afraid that he could kill me with his bare hands. And they use that because that's white fear. Black fear is being pulled over by the police. That fear kicks in because you don't know if you're going to make it home out of this alive or not. And no one addresses black fear when it comes to racism. What does it say? They put fear in us as babies. During slavery time, blacks had to watch as children. Mother, father being hung, babies cut out of black women's stomachs and smashed at the heel of white folk boots, lynchings, brutal beatings with whips. And when that seeps into your subconscious, it also seeps into your DNA. And so now you're carrying that fear around for generations and generations because you're outgunned. You're not outnumbered. There's never been a time to where there was more white people on the planet than there was black people. Now, it's been a time where there's more unified white people on the planet, and black people are disunified. So, it's easy to control. But there's never been a time where there's been more white people on this planet, right? And so they ruled, the colonizers, the racists ruled by installing fear within first the black woman because he wanted that fear to release those chemical dopamines in the brain where it goes into that breast milk, and she feeds that child milk that's full of those fear toxins. He was wickedly clever in his approach, right? And yeah, and it's taking time to undo the damage. But come on, man, there's been far too many killings of unarmed black people when our tax dollars goes to pay for the weapons that the police use to secure the community against unarmed black men simply because they can get up in front of a judge and say and state that they were afraid. And that's it. I was afraid. I said, don't move. They moved. I shot. But when you under duress and that fear kicks in, you're not hearing anything. You're just reacting. And you reacting to what you learned what to do. And at that time, the best thing you could have did was, hey, man, let me get my wallet to show you who I am. Don't kill me. But that's a fatal mistake. But you're not focusing on any command when you looking out and you seeing 4 white men come at you with guns. You already see them as the enemy anyway through history from the horrible acts that was betrayed upon your people. That's why whenever I hear the greatest teaching that could save the lives of black people, look, you got to get this through your head, until things get better, until the brutality stops and the racism stops. You have to understand the black man is God and the white man is the devil. Verbal Pick Radio, we're out.